Kai never thought his name would be called. He was just a simple engineer working in Earth's orbital repair division, quiet, focused, always in the background. But on this day, everything changed. The galactic peace assembly was being held on a massive space station near Jupiter. It was a rare and historic event. Dozens of alien leaders had gathered to discuss peace, trade, and future cooperation. Only a few humans were chosen to attend, and somehow, Kai had been selected. He arrived late. His shuttle had engine trouble, and he'd spilled grease on his jacket trying to fix it. He felt out of place walking among the bright uniforms. Tall, alien diplomats and shining lights. But duty was duty, and he kept walking. Inside the grand hall, a silence fell. The Queen of the Lyrae had entered. She was tall and graceful, wearing shimmering robes that moved like water. Her eyes were silver, deep and calm. Everyone stood when she passed, their heads low. The Lyrae were a powerful race known for their beauty, wisdom, and long lives. Their queen, Arlene, rarely appeared in public. Kai stood too, not really sure why. He had read about the Lyrae in books. They were peaceful, but distant. He never imagined he'd see one up close, especially not. The queen. The ceremony began. Speeches were made in many languages, some spoken, some sung, some sent as light or scent. The queen said nothing, only watched. Then, when the final speech ended, the queen rose from her seat and raised one hand. Everyone turned their attention to her. She slowly stepped down from her golden platform. Her guards moved aside, without a word. She began walking straight toward Kai. He froze. People whispered. Why was she walking toward a human? Toward an engineer, not a general or scientist? She stopped right in front of him. The queen lifted her hand and revealed a small object resting on her palm. It looked like a smooth silver seed, pulsing with faint blue light. You, she said in clear English, her voice soft but strong. I offer you this gift. Kai looked around, unsure what to do. Me? Yes, she replied simply. You are the one. He slowly reached out and took the seed. It was warm and felt alive in his hand. The hall remained silent. No one dared speak. The queen gave a small nod. This is a key, not to a door, but to a path. Where it leads depends on you. Then, without another word, she turned and returned to her platform. The guards followed, and the ceremony continued as if nothing strange had happened, but everything had changed. Later, in his room aboard the Earth Embassy ship, Kai sat staring at the seed. It hadn't moved, it didn't shine anymore, it was just still. Yet something deep inside him felt different, like something had awakened. He tried scanning it with his tools. Nothing. He asked a science officer to check it. Their machines couldn't identify it. Some thought it was art, others thought it might be dangerous, but no one could explain why the queen gave it to him. You didn't even speak, one technician said. Why would she pick you? Kai didn't know. But he remembered her eyes. The way she looked at him, not as someone small or unimportant, but like someone who mattered. The news spread fast. Alien queen gives strange object to human. Headlines ran across every channel, people argued. Some called it a symbol of trust, others said it was a mistake. A few even demanded he return it, but Kai refused, not out of pride. Out of instinct. It was given to him. It felt right. Even if he didn't understand it yet, that night something strange happened. Kai woke from a dream. In it, he was standing under a sky filled with stars that moved like waves. He saw cities made of light, machines that floated, and a great tower reaching far above a planet's surface. At the top stood the queen, looking down at him. When he woke up, the seed was glowing again, just a soft light, but it felt warmer than before. He picked it up. And for a brief moment, he felt connected. To what? He didn't know. But one thing was clear. This was not just a gift. It was a beginning. Kai kept the silver seed close to him at all times. He wore it around his neck with a simple chain hidden under his shirt. He didn't understand what it was, but he knew it mattered. Since returning to Earth, things had changed. He wasn't just a quiet engineer anymore. Now, reporters waited outside his building. Scientists sent him messages every day asking for interviews or samples. Some even offered money to study the seed, but Kai always gave the same answer. It was a gift. I don't want to give it away. He had no idea that choice would save his life later. One evening, while walking back from the supply hangar, Kai felt a sudden pain in his hand, the same hand that had touched the seed when the queen gave it to him. It was like fire under the skin, not burning but pulsing. Alive. He pulled back his sleeve. The skin on his palm was glowing faintly. Lines like a map spread from the center of his hand outward, bright and silver, then faded just as fast. Kai hurried back to his room, locked the door, and sat down. The seed was glowing too. Pulsing in time with his heartbeat, he placed it in his palm. The light grew brighter. And then, without warning, the seed sank into his skin. It didn't hurt. It simply melted like water and vanished into his body. Kai stared in shock. What just happened? His hand felt warm, but the glow disappeared. He waited. Nothing else changed, at least not right away. But over the next few days, Kai noticed strange things. Machines began to react to him. When he walked past the lab doors, they opened before he touched them. His tools worked smoother, faster, like they understood what he needed. During repairs, he started to feel what was wrong with the machines before running any test. Once, he fixed a broken engine just by touching it, and the fuel lines realigned themselves as if guided by invisible hands. His coworkers began whispering, "He's different now. Maybe the gift gave him something." It's not natural. Kai didn't have answers. He didn't feel like a different person. But something inside him was waking up, and others noticed too. One night, as Kai walked through the empty corridor near the research dome, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned, but no one was there. Suddenly, a figure dropped from the ceiling. A tall being in dark armor, face hidden, moved fast and grabbed Kai's arm. "You're coming with me?" the voice growled. Kai struggled. The attacker tried to inject him with something, but before the needle could touch his skin, a pulse of silver light burst from Kai's palm. The attacker was thrown backward by the energy. Kai stood in shock. The light faded, but it had protected him. The attacker growled and pulled out a weapon. Kai raised his hand again. Another burst of energy pushed the weapon out of the attacker's hand and sent him flying into a wall. Before Kai could move, security alarms rang out. Officers arrived and captured the intruder. Later, Kai learned the truth. The attacker was a bounty hunter from a rival alien faction. They had offered a reward to anyone who could bring back the human with the Queen's relic. The relic, the seed, was more powerful than anyone had guessed. Back in the safety of his room, Kai sat on the floor, hands still glowing softly. He now understood the Queen hadn't given him a simple gift. She had given him a tool. A weapon, a piece of ancient technology from her people, something only few could use. And for some reason it had chosen him. He remembered her words, not a door, but a path. The path had begun, and there was no going back. The next morning, Earth's Galactic Council agents contacted Kai. They wanted to move him to a safer place. But Kai refused. "If this thing chose me," he said, "I need to understand why. I can't just hide." Instead, he asked to meet someone who understood the Luray and their secrets. That's when they mentioned Talai. She was a translator, once a student in the Luray academies. Now she worked with the Council on alien communication. Quiet, sharp, and calm. When she met Kai, her eyes widened. "You really have it, the true seed," Kai nodded. "Can you help me understand it?" Talai looked at him seriously. "Yes, but we have to be quick. If others are already hunting you, then this is much bigger than just a gift." She paused. "This is the beginning of something ancient and dangerous." Kai followed Talai into a quiet underground facility hidden beneath the surface of the moon. It wasn't large or fancy, but it was safe. This place was used by peacekeepers to store ancient alien records and forgotten knowledge. Talai said very few people even knew it existed. Inside, strange symbols glowed on walls. Holograms floated gently in the air, maps, histories, languages. It felt like walking into a museum built by time itself. Talai touched one of the panels. A soft hum echoed and a glowing image appeared. It was the same shape as the silver seed. "This is called the Sirion core," she said. "It was used thousands of years ago by ancient Luray guardians. Only a few ever bonded with it. Kai listened carefully. The queen must believe you are like those guardians. You have something inside. Something that makes the core respond. It doesn't obey anyone, not even the queen herself. Kai looked down at his hand. The glow had faded again, but the warmth was still there. Why would she give it to a human? He asked. Talai tilted her head. Because humans are unpredictable, and sometimes the universe needs that. While they studied, danger grew closer. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Alien factions who feared the Lyrae or hated their power started paying attention to the human with the core. Some wanted to capture him, others wanted to destroy him. A few feared he might change the balance of power forever. One of them was the Zarnik Syndicate, famous for stealing ancient relics and selling them to the highest bidder. Their leader, a cold and silent being named Orcs, placed a bounty on Kai's head, alive or dead. Bring him in. And so the hunters began to move. Kai didn't know any of this as he sat with Talai inside the facility. She showed him recordings of past core users. Each had shaped history in some way. Some built cities that floated in the sky. Others helped stop wars by using their gifts to bring balance and peace. But all of them were Lyrae, Kai said. Talai nodded. Yes, that's why you are different. As Kai tried to understand what the core could really do, alarms suddenly blared through the facility. Red lights flashed. Talai stood quickly. We're not alone. Security cameras showed 2 ships landing near the outer gate. Dark figures in armor stormed in with advanced weapons. Their uniforms had no symbol, but Talai recognized them. Zarnek, she said. They're here for you. Kai felt fear rise in his chest. What do we do? You run? Talai replied. There's an escape tunnel below. They moved fast, through narrow corridors. Talai led the way while Kai followed, heart pounding. Behind them, blasts shook the walls. The attackers were close. Talai handed him a small communicator. If we get separated, head for the ship. It's hidden in the crater near the north side. Got it, Kai said. As they turned a corner, a metal door exploded open ahead of them. 3 armored figures stood in their way. Before they could react, Kai raised his hand. The core responded. A bright wave of silver light burst out from his palm, knocking the attackers backward. One of them hit the wall and didn't get up. Talai stared in awe. You're learning fast. Kai didn't answer. He was just as surprised as she was. They reached the tunnel and dropped into the narrow escape path. It was dark and dusty, with only emergency lights guiding them. The path led far underground, then up again toward the surface. Behind them, more explosions echoed. The hunters were trying to break through. Finally, they reached the surface. The stars above were clear and bright. In the distance, Kai saw the hidden ship, a small scout vessel half buried under the dust. They ran toward it. Suddenly, a shot hit the ground near his foot. Another group of attackers had arrived. They opened fire. Kai and Talai dived behind the ship. They're surrounding us, she said. Kai took a deep breath. I'll hold them, he said. You start the ship. Talai looked at him. Are you sure? No, but I have to try. He stepped out from cover, hand glowing. As the attackers charged, he focused. The core responded to his thoughts. A shield of light formed around him, stopping the bullets. Then, with a sweep of his hand, he pushed forward, sending a shockwave across the field. The attackers were knocked off their feet. Talai yelled from inside the ship. It's ready! Kai ran back and jumped inside. The door closed and the ship lifted off. As they escaped into the black sky, Kai sat back in the seat. Breathing hard, he looked at his hand. I think I'm starting to understand this thing, he said quietly. Talai nodded. You'll need to, because this was just the beginning. The stars stretched like silver dust outside the ship's window as it flew quietly through deep space. Inside, Kai sat with his head resting against the cold wall, thinking about everything that had happened. Just a few weeks ago, he was a normal human engineer. Now, he was being hunted by alien mercenaries. He had strange power in his hand, and the alien queen who gave it to him had disappeared from all public contact. Beside him, Talai studied star charts and ship logs. She finally looked up. We're going to Arcanus Station. There's someone there who can tell us more about the core, Kai nodded slowly. I hope they have answers. Because I still don't understand why me, Talai gave him a soft look. I think you already know why. You just don't want to believe it. Arcanus. Station was hidden in the rings of a dead planet, surrounded by metal debris and old satellites. Most people didn't even know it was still active. It was home to scholars, thinkers, and a few ancient beings who had lived for centuries. Talai guided the ship to a docking bay. As the doors opened, a tall alien stood waiting. His skin was like polished stone, and he had 4 glowing eyes. His name was Morthan, and he was once a historian of the Lere Empire. He greeted them calmly. So, the core has chosen a human. I never thought I'd live to see it. Kai gave a small bow. I'm just trying to survive. Morthan smiled faintly. The core doesn't bond with those who run from purpose. They followed him into a quiet hall lined with crystal memory tablets. Morthan waved his hand and a large hologram appeared. It showed a glowing tree of light, its roots spreading into stars. This is the tree of time, Morthan explained. It's how the Lere understood destiny. The core is a seed from that tree, a piece of ancient power meant to grow inside a worthy soul. Kai watched silently. Long ago, Morthan continued, guardians were chosen not by blood or title, but by heart, by courage, by the ability to protect others even when afraid. Talai glanced at Kai. Now do you see why she chose you? Kai hesitated. I'm not a warrior. I didn't train for this. You didn't have to, Morthan replied. The core woke up because you were willing to stand when others would fall. That's enough. Morthan guided them to a quiet chamber. There's something else. He showed Kai an old recording Queen Aralim, much younger, speaking with another. Lere elder. She spoke of a dream, Morthan said. A vision she had. Of a human carrying the core across stars, uniting broken worlds, healing what war destroyed. Kai stared at the image. That can't be me, Morthan nodded slowly. Dreams often come true in ways we do not expect. Then he leaned forward. But now that the core is active again, many will try to stop you. Some will fear what you can become. Others will want to steal it. Kai took a deep breath. So what should I do? Follow the path, Morthan answered. Let the core guide you. But you must reach the queen. Only she knows what comes. Next, back on the ship, Talai checked the coordinates to the Lere homeworld. They've closed all contact, she said. No ships allowed in. The queen hasn't spoken to anyone since the day she gave you the core. Kai stared at the stars. Then we'll just have to find a way. Talai raised an eyebrow. Even if it means breaking into the most protected planet in the galaxy? Kai gave a small smile. I've already been chased, nearly captured, and shot at. One more challenge won't change much, Talai laughed softly. You're becoming more like a Lere guardian than you think. But as she turned back to the console, a silent alert flashed. A tracking signal was active. They found us, she whispered. Kai stood beside her. How? Talai pointed at the ship's core. Someone planted a hidden beacon during the attack on the moon base. We led them straight here. A message came. In short and clear, surrender the core or Arcanus burns. Kai looked at Talai, then at the stars ahead. He had a choice, run again, or become what the core had already started to make him. He stepped forward and said quietly, We're not giving up. We're not running. This time, we fight. Arcanus Station was quiet, too quiet. The stars outside seemed still, waiting. Inside the control room, Kai stood beside Talai and Morthan. The warning from the enemy echoed in their minds. Surrender? The core or Arcanus burns. Talai stared at the screen, her hands tight on the controls. 3 ships just came out of warp. They're Zarna class, armed, fast. Morthan remained calm. The station has basic shields and some old defense cannons, but it won't survive a direct battle. Kai looked at his hand. The core inside him was warm, pulsing again. We're not giving them what they want, Talai turned to him. Then we have to prepare. Fast. Alarms rang through Arcanus Station. Lights turned red. Scholars and workers rushed to safe zones. Automated turrets came online. Drones floated out to guard the outer structure. Kai helped move crates and tools. He worked like he did in his engineer. Days quick, focused, calm, but now he had something more. The core guided him. He placed his hand on broken defense panels and they healed themselves. He charged energy cells with just a touch. Doors opened for him like he was part of the station. Talai watched him. "You're changing," Kai smiled slightly. "Maybe I'm becoming who I was always meant to be." The enemy ships didn't wait long. Beams of red light struck the station's shields. The force shook the walls. One of the outer arms of the station sparked and dimmed. "We have to slow them down," Talai said. "If they break the core ring, we'll lose power." Kai looked out the viewport. "What if I go out there?" Talai blinked. "Out there? I can feel the energy now." "Maybe I can use it to protect the station," Morthen stepped forward. "The core is strong, but using it in open space is dangerous." "It may drain you," Kai nodded. "Then I'll be careful." Minutes later, he stood in a small airlock suit, looking out at the dark. His helmet sealed and the outer hatch opened. He floated gently into the vacuum of space. The enemy ships were close, sharp, black vessels shaped like knives. Kai took a deep breath. He held out his hand. The core responded. A wave of silver light spread from his palm, forming a curved shield between the station and the enemy. The attackers fired again, but the energy bent around the barrier like rain hitting glass. Inside the ships, the pilots were confused. "What is that, some kind of lyre tech?" "Doesn't matter," the leader growled. "Break it." They fired a concentrated plasma beam. The force slammed into the shield. Kai groaned inside his suit. His hand burned. His body shook, but he held on. Back inside, Talai guided the defense drones. "They're focusing all fire on Kai. We have one chance. If we can damage their engines while he holds them, we might win." She sent commands to the station's cannons. They targeted weak points. On the enemy vessels. Boom. Boom. One ship shuddered as an engine exploded. It spun out of control and crashed into a broken satellite. The second ship tried to pull back, but too late. A missile hit its bridge. Only one attacker remained, and it was heading straight for Kai. The last ship powered up. Its main cannon. Kai saw it coming. He knew his shield wouldn't stop that kind of blast, but the core had one more surprise. His body glowed fully now, light pouring from his hands, chest, even his eyes. The core had awakened completely. He reached forward. And the beam never hit. Instead, it shattered mid-space, breaking into sparks. The enemy ship froze in place. The pilot panicked. "It's not possible." Then a final blast from the station struck its side. The last ship was gone. Silence. Kai floated for a moment, breathing slowly. Then the station pulled him back with a gravity beam. Inside the airlock, Talai waited. When his helmet opened, she smiled. "You did it." Kai nodded, exhausted. "We did it." Morthen joined them. "You defended a place of peace with power and purpose. That is the mark of a true core bearer." Kai leaned against the wall. "It's still hard to believe. I'm just a human." "Not anymore," Talai whispered. "You're something more." Later that night, Kai stood by the window. Looking at the stars, he knew the fight wasn't over. There would be more enemies, more questions. And still, the Queen waited somewhere with answers he needed. But for now, he had done something no one expected. He had stood his ground. And won. The battle was over. But Kai's journey. WASN single quotes T. After defending Arcanus Station, messages came from different corners of the galaxy. Some praised him as a hero, others called him dangerous. But one message stood out, quiet, personal, and short. It came from the Queen herself. "Come to me. The time has come." There were no coordinates, no map. Just that message. Talai stood beside Kai in the control room. "How are we supposed to find her?" Kai looked at his hand. The core inside his body pulsed slowly. "I think it already knows." He closed his eyes, and the feeling grew stronger. The core showed him a direction. Not through words, but through instinct, like a compass buried deep in his chest. They left Arcanus behind and followed the pull of the core through space. The journey took days, passing through dust clouds, ancient gates, and forgotten systems. Finally, they arrived. Before them floated a beautiful green and gold planet, surrounded by rings of crystal dust. No signal came from it, no space traffic, no warnings. It was quiet but alive, Talai whispered. That's Lere. The home of the Queen, Kai nodded. We made it. As their ship approached the atmosphere, something strange happened. The controls stopped responding, but gently. The ship was being guided down by a soft, invisible force. Talai blinked. She's bringing us in. They landed in a wide, glowing field filled with tall trees that shimmered in the breeze. The air smelled like sweet flowers and warm sunlight. No guards came, no voices, just Peace. Kai stepped out first. As his feet touched the grass, the core in his body pulsed brighter than ever, and then she appeared. Queen Arlene walked slowly toward them, wearing robes of soft silver. Her eyes were calm, but full of power and knowledge. Kai stepped forward. Your message reached me, she smiled. The core has accepted you. That means the galaxy still has hope, Kai frowned. Hope for what? She looked up at the sky. Long ago, the core was part of a great network, a way to protect life, not control it. But fear, war, and greed broke that balance. We hid the pieces. Only one seed remained. And I gave it to you. Why me? He asked again. The Queen stepped closer. Because you are not perfect. You have fear, doubt, but you chose to stand when it mattered. That is what the core needs, a heart that doesn't chase power but protects others. They walked together. Through the garden, Talai stayed behind. Watching silently, the Queen led Kai to a wide platform where glowing stones floated in a circle. In the center, there was a crystal orb, the heart of Lere. This is the true purpose of the core, the Queen said. It's not just a weapon, it's a guide and a key. Kai stared at the orb. A key to what? She pointed upward. To something hidden, something we sealed long ago. The core inside Kai glowed brighter. It reacted to the heart. You are ready, the Queen said. Kai stepped forward. As his hand touched the heart, light exploded around them. He saw flashes of ancient battles, great cities, and star systems filled with life. He saw guardians, some human-like, some alien, all using the core to protect life. Then he saw darkness. A great shadow rising in space, swallowing worlds, and then silence. The vision ended. Kai stumbled back, breathing hard. The Queen touched his shoulder. That darkness is returning. And you may be the galaxy's last true guardian? Kai didn't speak for a moment, then he looked up at her. What do I have to do? She smiled gently. You already did the first part. You accepted the core. Now you must awaken the others. Others? There are more like you. The core can find them, teach them, lead them. Kai nodded slowly. I'll try. The Queen stepped back. You don't need to be perfect. Just be willing. Back at the ship, Talai waited for him. Well? She asked. Kai smiled. We're not done. There's more work to do. Talai smiled back. Of course there is. They looked up at the stars. A new journey had begun, not to run, not to hide, but to lead. And all because of one simple gift. Kai stood on the bridge of the ship, looking out at the stars. They stretched in every direction, endless, silent, and full of secrets. But this time, he wasn't just looking at space. He was looking at his future. Behind him. Talai was adjusting the ship's navigation. She glanced back. So where do we go first? Kai smiled. Wherever the core leads us, the Queen had told him the truth. There were others like him, other people across the galaxy who carried the potential to become guardians. The core? Inside, Kai had awakened. Now, it would help him find the next ones. He didn't know their names or what planets they lived on. But he knew one thing. They were waiting. Their first stop was a desert moon called Mara's 9. It was dry, hot, and filled with dust storms. Not many people lived there, just miners and traders. But the core had guided them here. As Kai walked through the dusty streets, he noticed a young girl helping a broken robot. She had no tools, just her hands. But somehow she made it work. Kai stepped closer. That's amazing. The girl looked up. It just needed someone to listen. He smiled. The core pulsed gently inside him. Later, He gave her a small glowing crystal from the queen. It wasn't as strong as the full core, but it would begin her journey. From there, they went to a water world, then a frozen colony, then a spaceport city built into an asteroid. In each place, they found someone who stood out not because of strength, but because of heart: a farmer who protected alien creatures during a storm, a pilot who saved refugees without being asked, a teacher who gave food to strangers even when she had none for herself. Each time the core responded. Each time Kai offered a gift. And each time a new guardian was born. As the weeks passed, news of Kai's journey spread. Some called him the Lightbearer. Others called him the Last Guardian. But he didn't care about titles. He cared about the mission. In quiet moments, he often remembered how it all started. Just a simple ceremony, a silent queen, and a single gift. One day, as their ship floated near a calm blue star, Talai turned to him with a worried look. "I picked up something, a signal. It's weak, but strange." Kai checked the screen. It was a warning. A planet in a far system unknown, barely marked on any map, was losing contact with nearby stations. Lights had gone dark. Ship sent to investigate never came back. Kai felt the core grow colder. "This is it," he whispered. "The darkness is returning." Talai nodded slowly. "Do we go?" Kai stood up, eyes steady. "Yes, and we don't go alone." He sent out a signal across the galaxy, a call not for soldiers, but for guardians, those he had awakened. Those who had joined him, one by one. They answered. From jungle planets, metal cities, and quiet villages. Ships lifted off. And soon a small fleet formed, not big, not powerful in weapons, but strong in spirit. United in purpose. As their ships flew toward the unknown, Talai looked at Kai. "You're not the same person I met," she said softly. Kai smiled. "I'm still me, just more," she nodded. "You've become what the Queen hoped for." He looked out at the stars again. "Maybe, but this isn't just about me. This is about all of us, human and alien, young and old. The core didn't choose me to be a hero. It chose me to bring people together." He paused, "And now we stand together." Their ships disappeared into the black sky, heading toward whatever danger waited. Kai didn't know what they would find, but he knew one thing: no matter how dark the future looked, one simple gift had lit the way, and that light would never go out.